There used to be a time when newspapers were exclusively printed words and still photos. In these times of multi-platforms and multimedia, that's changing even for what used to be known as the op-ed section. Instead of editorials, columns, and letters to the editor, the Boston Globe's adding a new kind of outlet, the opinion reel. To tell us about using the Globe for your opinion and your voice are one of the Globe's op-ed columnists, Joanna Weiss, and one of the video contributors, Padriac Farma. Thank you both very much for being with us.
Thank you.
I want to start with Joanna. How did this idea finally just leap out there?
Sure, this is an idea that came to me from Ellen Clegg, who is the op-ed or the editorial page editor of the Globe, and it had two parts really. One was, how do we expand what we have on our pages, our writ large? You know, we're a multimedia operation like all newspapers and media outlets are. So how do we expand the forms of the content, and how do we share more with people who are watching, looking on websites and mobile phones and experiencing us in a different way than just paper. But also, the Globe has a real commitment to the filmmaking community in Boston, and we wanted to find a way to tap into this amazing, large community of people who are making amazing films and give them another outlet to showcase their work.
And what you're looking for here is not just an opinion. You want some storytelling.
Some storytelling, a point of view. I mean, we think of these because we have 9 films on our website right now that you can see at bostonglobe.com/opinionreel, and they really represent the range of things that you might find, again, on a paper op-ed page. We've got personal stories, we've got a little bit of polemics, an issue polemic, we've got family stories and social issues and looks into subcultures. It's stories with a point of view.
Padriac, you are a filmmaker. This is something you do for a living, and you also happen to have grown up in South Boston. So explain how those two come together.
It's interesting. So my family's been in South Boston since 1834. And whenever I do a lot of personal storytelling, so I tell a lot of stories from South Boston. And whenever I kind of get the word out there about a project that I'm working on about South Boston, or trying to get people to come and tell their stories, I always get, oh, go back to the suburbs, or go back to Hollywood, or go back to your $4,000 a month condo. It's really interesting that people don't believe that someone from South Boston can be a filmmaker. And I think that's kind of an expectation around Boston. So I think it's great for something like Opinion Reel to happen, where people can use the language of film to tell their stories beyond the written word.
We're going to talk about your contribution here, because it's one of those stories we're all too familiar with in Boston. A couple of guys walk into a bar and something goes wrong.
Right. It's very interesting, because if there were going to be stories about me going into a bar, I probably would have chosen a different one at some point, thought that I was on the other end. But I was just kind of innocently having a beer with my dad and my best friend after Christmas, and I accidentally stepped on someone's foot, and then I found myself outside on the ground getting beaten by 3 people. Yeah, it was a strange night, and it turned out that it was my godmother's brother who was the person that did it. And because of gentrification in South Boston, whenever you see someone, you just assume that they're not from the neighborhood. So the person hadn't seen me in years and just assumed that I wasn't from the neighborhood.
And we're going to bring up some of those unsightly excerpts.
People thought I was dead, people thought I was paralyzed. And then the next thing I remember is my father picking me up and pulling me into the bar, and they had all gone.
Well, I'll start at the beginning. We had some dinner at the Farragut House, and then we went down to the L Street Tavern, which I was reluctant to do, but I went down, and we were just gonna have one, and then so we walked down to the L Street Tavern.
Joanna, what do people get from this that they wouldn't have gotten before from an op-ed section?
Well, they get a look at some of the amazing work that's being done by filmmakers all around Boston and New England. They also get, I think, a range of voices that you might not see in the print pages. Again, some of our films come from students, high school students, some of whom Patrick has worked with at a place where he works in Lynn, and some come from college students, some come from professional filmmakers. So you just get a range of perspectives, different ethnic backgrounds, different points of view on the world. It's just another bit of the mosaic of Boston.
Right. Patrick, what about yourself when you really wanted to take this on as a topic? You know, I mean, this is something that almost happened to me somewhere else many years ago in Boston, and it's not something I really want to talk about to a lot of people. But in your case, you think there's a reason to bring this up?
I think that one of the reasons why people make films has to do with power. And when you feel like you don't have power, you know, it always goes, why is the loudest kid on the bus the loudest kid on the bus? Because he feels like he's not heard. And I think that by being able to make this film, I was able to make a statement. It was pretty therapeutic on some level. And I kind of got to have my jab at my own story.
Right. Joanna, what about the other things going on here? Because when I look at this video, I mean, maybe for me it's very familiar, but I'm also seeing some details, some nuances here about what it's like to live in the city.
Definitely, and I think Patrick's film was one of those. We screened all of these films in front of a group of opinion writers and film experts, and some of them we were just blown away by, like this one. And again, it gives you this sense of what it's like to live in Boston, what it's like to really see through someone else's eyes what that experience is. And again, it's something that the medium of film can do that no other medium can.
Well, Patrick, you're certainly capable of doing this on your own. You could have uploaded it on YouTube, maybe you're on social media, you could have gotten your contacts to circulate it, but you chose to go through the globe here. What did that do for you?
I think that just having the globe kind of present your work, you know, there's this whole idea of print and where it's going. You know, I think having the globe, it reached my family in California, my family in Florida. The bar owner's wife got in touch with him and told him that it was on the site. I think just kind of there is a prestige with having your name and having your work associated with the globe. But
you're also focusing on a particular audience, even if it's a very big mixed audience, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think. You know, I went to school in Chicago from 2001 to 2005, and when I came back to a different Boston. There were different streets, there were different people. It was all completely changed, and I find that my audience is to the people that I grew up with, and also to the people that have moved in here, so that they know kind of the history of Boston in general. You know, a lot of my background work is with busing and desegregation in Boston, and my family's experience with that. And I think it's important for people that are here to know kind of why there's a code of silence in neighborhoods, and why when you walk into the bar you get the look that you get. And I think it's important for people to know.
Joanna, we should mention here that if anybody else would like to make a contribution, anything they should know about what they need to do and how to move ahead with it?
Sure. Look on our website. You can, again, see these 9 great films, and then at the bottom there's a link to a submission form, and it's a really simple submission form. All you do is upload a film to YouTube or video and send us the link and send us your contact information, and we'll take a look at it. And what we're planning to do is, we've just released our fall season. We're going to have a winter season. We're already getting submissions rolling in, so we'll take a look at those films, screen them all, and hopefully within the next few months present a whole new set.
Great. Thank you both very much, Joanna Weiss and Padriac Farma.